Willie D Live.
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking.
This morning, more audio of the frantic call from the boat Nolan Wells was supposed to have taken to shore after celebrating July 4th with friends on a remote barrier island off the Mississippi Gulf Coast.
And what do you want to do? Do you want to be towed back?
I want to get this boat unsank and towed back, yes.
The caller told the dispatcher everyone aboard was unhurt and noted he and the passengers were young.
There are 0 adults on board. Nobody here is over the age of 21.
Documents obtained by ABC News show that boat set off for Horn Island just before 10 a.m. the morning of July 4th. Wells and his friends arrived at 11:14. For the next 5 hours, the boat was stationary until it left at 4:31 p.m. without Wells, moving at no more than 4 knots. Whatever problem the teens reported was resolved about an hour later at 5:25 when vessel regains normal operation and begins accelerating at 30 to 35 knots. Friends said they did not abandon Wells. Rather, the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources reported his friends saying Wells was in the company of an unknown female and that he chose to remain at the island. As searchers began scanning the island and surrounding waters, this email obtained by ABC News shows the preliminary information they were given, describing Wells as a black male, 6'1", 180 pounds, wearing shorts only. The Marine Patrol listed his alcohol intake as heavy. The state's autopsy, including the results of toxicology tests, is pending.
As long as we continue to remember him, his light will continue to shine through us all. Nolan, we love you. We'll continue to fight for you.
Wells was laid to rest last week. A source tells ABC News on the day of the funeral, his mother sent his friends legal notice to expect a lawsuit, instructing them to preserve evidence and not to delete anything on their phones. Nothing further from the Wells family about those impending lawsuits. Meanwhile, the district attorney has asked for patience in the investigation, saying minimal releases of information are meant to protect the integrity of the case. Officials have provided no timeline for when it will be complete. Guys.
ABC News. Y'all ain't slick. Y'all think y'all slick, but y'all ain't slick. I want you to pay attention to what he said, fam. He said with absolute certainty that they left Nolan behind. He didn't say they claimed they left Nolan behind. He said, and the boat took off without him. They left him behind. They're supposed to be reporting the news objectively. Now, they're not me. I'm not objective. I'm telling you straight up. I can be objective in the very beginning till once I figure out what it is, I'm going in. When I first hear the story, I'm objective. Okay, what does it sound like? Okay, it sounds like this. That's what it is. Sound like that? That's what it is. Once I figure it out, oh man, I'm smashing the gas. And I figured it out. Nolan Wells was killed. Nolan Wells was on that boat. Man, you can't explain away that damn conversation that happened before that woman got on the phone, before that dispatcher got on the phone, and they talking about, is he dead? Is who dead? Ironically, their friend ends up dead. Nolan, goddamn Bart, what'd you do? Bart, what are you calling Bart for if Bart ain't on the boat? If Bart is in Wyoming? Oh my God, so many inconsistencies in their stories. We ain't even got to the part where they said he went with the girl and the girl said he went with them. We ain't even got to the part of these uncivilized mutts was holding his phone knowing he was allegedly missing and the parents would want that phone. Holding his keys, knowing that the parents would want those keys. It is absolutely mind-boggling that they have so much help covering up these crimes. And this is how it's been for a long time. This is not just the Nolan Wells case. This is why these type of cases are so difficult to solve, because they have a system in place to protect them. Starting with the agency that is supposed to be investigating. In fact, let me back up. Starting with the law enforcement agency that's supposed to be tasked with making an arrest on probable cause, right? The police officer, the sheriff, day one, ain't seen the body. He haven't examined the body. He hasn't read any kind of report. He hasn't talked to the detectives or nothing. And he said, well, we don't suspect foul play. Setting up the narrative. The coroner sends the body to the medical examiner. The Mississippi medical examiner sends the body to DC for an independent autopsy without lungs and a throat for a drowning victim, a so-called drowning victim. Y'all do know if Nolan had drowned, if it had been an accident, you do know that Mississippi would have provided evidence to support that fact by now, right? You do know that, right? You do know they have the capabilities to do that and quiet all of this noise. They could have done it like that. But they don't have that evidence. They don't have it because it don't exist. Because Nolan Wells was murdered. And they know it. What they're trying to protect now is their history of cover-ups, their history of making sure that we protect this group over here who harms this group over here. It's systemic, fam. Look at all of the hangings, not just in Mississippi, but all throughout America, the hangings. When's the last time we heard of a Black person being hung in the United States? A white person being suspected of it, which is almost all the time a white person is suspected of hanging a Black person. And that white person actually getting charged, or even being accused by law enforcement, being a suspect by law enforcement. It just don't happen. So this encourages them to continue their uncivilized ways. Just like the January 6 rioters. When Trump pardoned them after they beat up police officers, killed about 4 police officers, stormed the Capitol, tried to overthrow the government, Trump pardoned them. And many of them went right back out and committed more crimes. Everything from murder to rape. And then you got Jake Lane running around here. He's uncivilized, agitating, trying to provoke people into confrontations, breaking the law left and right. And he still is allowed to roam free. That is because this is KKK land and you can't shake it. And I'm not just talking about Mississippi. I'm not just talking about the South. It's America. The reason why slavery lasted so long is for the same reason why it was implemented in the first place. You had white politicians who owned slaves. You had Congress members who owned slaves. Yeah, senators, governors. who owned slaves. You had bank executives who insured slaves like they would insure a car, a house. They wrote insurance policies on enslaved human beings. Uncivilized mutts are woven within the fabric of this nation. You understand what I'm saying? ABC News. TMZ. It's a bunch of that for y'all because y'all be acting like y'all really for the people. Yeah. Y'all really be getting access to our people. You know, TMZ is owned by Fox Corporation, right? So there you go. That's their parent company. So there you go. So even if they wanted to, be on the right side of history, they can't. Because they're owned by a corporation who is on the wrong side of history. And they got to do what they tell them to do. Fox Corporation run TMZ, all levels of it. Harvey is just a figurehead. They run it. And that's why they're running with that narrative. They tried to stand up to Trump for a minute. Then they started backpedaling. They started backpedaling and they started to acquiesce to Trump's demands. They started kissing his butt because they started being afraid that they were going to lose something. So they started cleaning it up. TMZ is not a reliable source. They're a source for sure. Or they're going to get a whole bunch of news. They're going to be there first and all. They're going to break the story and all that kind of stuff. But now we have to wonder about the narrative. How accurate is the story that they're breaking? ABC News. Do they just think that we're all stupid? They go and put out an audio version, their own audio. They could have kept that. They should have just grabbed, and then they called it new. They called it the new audio. No, it's the old damn audio, same old audio with some new video. That's it. They left out the most critical parts on purpose. They are trying to sweep this case under the rug. And ABC, TMZ, the governor, the AG, all of them are trying to make this case go away. That's why I keep saying that it was going to be difficult to get justice, because it starts off with one agency saying, we're not interested. And then the other agency that's tasked with, supposed to be checks and balances, they're supposed to be overseeing and making sure that this agency behaves correctly. If they get out of line, they're supposed to step up and straighten them out. But instead of them straightening them out, they're just as crooked as the next one is. So they all look after each other. Get past that one, then the next one that's supposed to be checking this one, they're in on it too. All of them are in on it. All of them. They're all helping to cover this case up. You got the AG threatening people who they claim are threatening members of law enforcement. Ain't no damn body threatening law enforcement. And if they did, they know it ain't serious, because law enforcement, nobody harms law enforcement when law enforcement is sitting on their hands and they don't do anything about a crime. That don't happen. They don't come for law enforcement when the law is not enforced. The law is not enforced. People just they get angry. They may lash out, might take to the streets, protest, throw a rock, and then they go back to living. This is what they did, and this is classic. They created chaos and then played the victim. That's what they're doing right now. Mississippi officials, specifically those in Ocean Springs, they created this chaos by not doing their job, and now they're trying to play the victim. The same as the youngsters. They created the chaos, and now they're trying to play the victim. That shit ain't gonna work with me. It might work with somebody else, but it ain't gonna work with me. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. No more talk.